Today's video, pretty simple. We're going to talk some baseball. I've got 6 topics to talk about in today's video. Obviously, you see the titles. Probably something about the AL East, or just the best divisions in baseball. Something like that. I've got 6 topics to talk about in today's video, and that's what I'm going to do in today's video. But before I get into this video, 92% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So go ahead and get your life together and hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get into this video. So, let's go ahead and start off with the number one topic. The Mets are struggling, and the Phillies are about to take the lead in the NL East. So, the Phillies and Mets are about to play a series. They're about to play a series in Philadelphia. The Phillies are only half a game back right now of the Mets, 56 and 53, and the Mets are 56 and 52. And they're playing some bad, uninspired baseball right now. They didn't play too well versus the Marlins. Didn't look very motivated at all. Since Javier Baez came in, they haven't been that much better either, honestly. And this Mets team is struggling bad right now. We know that they needed some starting pitching at the deadline, and they didn't really address it too much. They only got Rich Hill and Trevor Williams as their people to address that. Now, coming into the year, we thought this Mets lineup is one of the best lineups, and you add a guy like Javier Baez to that lineup, and we would think that they are a really good team and a team that could make a World Series run. But no, this Mets team has been a big disappointment this year, and they're not playing good baseball in crunch time right now. It's not crunch time yet. We're only starting August right now, but you've still got to play good baseball, especially when you're playing a team like Philadelphia, which could decide the division. These 4 games, I mean, I'm not trying to say with 2 months left of baseball left that this is going to be the deciding factor, but some of these games could decide. So tonight you've got a good matchup, Stroman and Gibson. That's going to be the matchup tonight, and that's obviously going to be a very good matchup. This lineup is a good lineup, but the starting pitching is not good right now. They're without DeGrom. You see how much DeGrom helps this team because their starting pitching is about nothing without DeGrom. DeGrom and Syndergaard and Lucchesi and Peterson and all those guys are out right now. They've got a lot of guys on the injured list, yes. Lindor is on the injured list as well, which Lindor hasn't been great this year, so they're not really missing him too bad. But Lindor not in this lineup actually is hurting them pretty bad. And this Mets team is not playing good baseball at all right now. They need to step up their game or they're going to be out of first place and in second place. And the Braves are playing good baseball right now on a 3-game winning streak, 55 and 54. They're only 1.5 games back too. Let's say they lose. They're playing a 3-game series. Let's say they lose all 3 of them. They could be in third place by the end of this series, technically. If the Braves keep on winning, they could be in third place. And like I said, the Braves and Phillies are right knocking on the door. The Nationals are not a real contender anymore. They weren't in the first place, but they've traded Scherzer. They've traded Turner. They've got no idea. Don't even think about them winning this year. The Marlins, they're only 9.5 games back. They've got good starting pitching, but the Marlins are not a real contender either. It's between Atlanta, Philadelphia, and New York in this division. And the Mets need to be playing better baseball at this time. And they don't have an easy stretch coming up. Obviously, you're going to get 3 games versus Washington, the 10th, 11th, and 12th, which is going to be pretty easy. But you've got the Dodgers and Giants from there, which is going to be an awfully tough task. And this will really show what kind of team the Mets are. Let's go and talk about the Phillies because they are about to take the lead in the NL East, possibly, if they win tonight's game with Gibson on the mound. They have Ranger Suarez tomorrow on the mound. Let's go and talk about Ranger Suarez. This guy's been throwing really hard, and now they're trying to develop him into a starting pitcher. I can't understand what they're doing with that. Makes absolutely no sense. But with this Phillies team, they're playing really good baseball right now. 5-game winning streak, 56 and 53. Only half a game back. Obviously, the NL East, they're not going to have a wild card team. It's going to be whoever wins the division. It's going to be the only playoff team from that division. So you basically need to win the division or you need to just get really, really hot. because it's between the Giants and Padres for a wild card spot in the NL right now. Pretty simple. All right, let's go ahead and go to our second topic. It's simple. Watch out for the Reds. The Reds are playing good baseball right now. 7-3 in their last 10, 2-game winning streak, 58-51, 7 games back. Now, I say watch out for the Reds. Some people are going to take this just a little too crazy. But let me explain this. Watch out for the Reds as in a wild card team, not in a division winner. The Brewers are the division winner in that division. Like, they already have just about wrapped up the division, in my opinion. The Reds are a very good baseball team. They don't have any bullpen, but you've got good starting pitching and you've got great hitting, which is going to be good. And this team definitely could get into the playoffs. I would not be surprised at all to see the Cincinnati team in the playoffs. But their bullpen's simply going to have to be better, and I don't know how it's going to be better. With the trade deadline being gone, you add Michael Givens, you add Justin Wilson, Luis Cessa to the bullpen. But I mean, you just don't have a good bullpen. It's simple. Like when Heth Hembry's your closer, something's not going right. I mean, I'm just going to keep it simple. Now, the lineup's going to get even better with Moustakas, Senzel coming off the injured list at whatever point they do. And TJ Antone is going to come back probably this year, and Lucas Sims, which will make their bullpen a lot better. So that right there will help them a lot. TJ Antone and Lucas Sims, that will help a lot. So their bullpen's going to get better. It's just about maintaining and being good until those guys come back, when I think their bullpen's going to get a lot better. It's not going to be great by any means, but it's still going to be good. They play Pittsburgh in their next game, and they have 3 versus Pittsburgh, 1 versus Cleveland, and then 4 versus Atlanta, and 3 versus Philadelphia, which should be some decent challenges for the Reds. Let's go ahead and talk next. The Reds, though, playing really good baseball. I don't see them as like one of those sneaky teams just because there's so many good teams in the NL, like the Brewers, like the Giants, like the Dodgers, like the Padres. Padres, let's go ahead and talk about them. Are the Padres a playoff team? Question mark. That's literally what I've got. The Padres are playing some interesting baseball right now. They're 4-6 in their last 10 on a 1-game losing streak. They're 62-48 right now. It doesn't look like winning the division is any sort of a chance, considering that a Dodgers team that is way better than them are not even leading the division right now. This Padres team, they've got to play better baseball. And yes, Fernando Tatis Jr. is out right now with a shoulder injury, but you've got to play decent baseball without Fernando Tatis. If you don't play decent baseball without Fernando Tatis, you're in trouble. Adam Frazier has not been good since coming over from the trade. They have got to play better baseball. And this Padres team has been a disappointment down season for them. They have not had a good season at all. The Snell pickup, not been good. It's been a dumb pickup. It's looked like a really, really dumb trade. Now, Patino hasn't been like just out of the world great in his own right, but still, San Diego screwed up that trade. And frankly, they didn't get any starting pitching at the deadline either. And A.J. Preller didn't have an A.J. Preller type deadline, honestly. He didn't have one of those big splashes like he did in the offseason. Yes, the Musgrove pickup has worked out, along with Darvish. Most of their offseason pickups have worked out. It's just that some have not. And when you're starting Reese Kinner, I mean, you're really in trouble. Ryan Weathers has been a game changer for this team. The bullpen's great, obviously. But without Fernando in that lineup, they're just totally different team. Now, Daniel Hudson, I'm pretty sure he's on the COVID injured list, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to be back. Their bullpen's going to get even better. But this hitting is the problem here. The hitting is the problem. It's got to be better. The hitting's good, but without Fernando Tatis, they've got to play better baseball. And this Padres team, are they a playoff team? I honestly don't know. If Tatis has surgery, they're not a playoff team. I'm just going to go ahead and say Reds are getting that second wild card spot. They're not a playoff team. If Fernando comes back, I still see them as a team that can make the playoffs, especially considering that they're only going to get healthier from here. At least we think. Clevenger, not going to be back this year. Lamet, I don't know about him being back this year. He's injured all the time. You don't know what to expect with Dinelson Lamet. Chris Paddock could be back pretty soon, strained oblique. I don't know the significance of the injury, but this Padres team has got to play better baseball. Obviously, no shortstop that they put out there, whether that's Cronenworth, whether that's Hudson, whether that's Jerson Profar, whether that's Adam Frazier, whether that's Manny Machado, whoever wants to play shortstop is not going to match up to Fernando Tatis Jr.'s production for this team. And they've got to play good baseball without him, though. And their next games are versus Arizona, Miami, and then Arizona again. So they've got a weak streak coming up to where that they can win a lot of games in those series. And in the Marlins series, they'll only have to face Thompson, Garrett, and Alcantara. So they won't have to face like Rogers and yeah, for the Marlins. But yeah, this Padres team, they got to play a little better baseball. Not a little better. They need to play better baseball, especially with how good the Reds are playing right now. This Padres team is a very good team. They just need to play better. Obviously, Tatis is out, but need to play a little better. Let's go ahead and talk about the AL East. Is it the best division in baseball? Because I think it is. I don't know. I understand the hype with the NL West because the NL West is great. Every game that the Giants and Dodgers play feels like a playoff game. It really does. It just feels like a playoff game. And, I mean, you've got the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres, but those three teams have to face the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. And the AL East is the other best division in baseball, in my opinion. I think it's the best division in baseball, in my opinion. There's 4 legitimate teams competing. And 4 legitimate teams with a well over 500 record, being the Blue Jays, Yankees, Boston, and Tampa. Now, Tampa leads the division right now, 1.5 game leads, 65-44. We'll talk about Tampa Bay a little more in a minute. But they have to play Baltimore next. They're feeling good. Boston and Toronto, that's going to be a big series. But Toronto's been playing a lot better baseball since the deadline, 8-2 on a 3-game winning streak. Sad thing is for them, the Yankees are playing just as good of baseball. This Blue Jays team, I don't see them as a legitimate contender. This team, I would love to see them in the playoffs. So I think that it would be good for baseball for them to be in the playoffs. It really would be. A young, exciting Blue Jays team with Vladimir Guerrero, some of the future faces of baseball, like Bo Bichette could be a future face of baseball. Like, there's so many good players on this Blue Jays team, and they're only 2.5 games back of the wild card. I don't see them winning the division. I think that is far from realistic right now. But this team, if their bullpen can step it up, then this team is a legitimate contender because the starting pitching with Barrios now, I think, is a good rotation there. You've got Ray, you've got Ryu, now you've got Barrios and Matz, and you've got a good starting pitching. Now you need the bullpen to step it up. Brad Hand's not a guy that I'm trusting to close the game personally. Like, if he was on the Braves, I would be scared every time he comes in. But maybe this bullpen can get a little better for this team. And, yeah, the Yankees, they've been playing really better baseball of lately. They're just playing really good baseball as of recent, 59-49. Since the start of August, they have been playing – well, not since totally the start of August. But since the deadline, they've been playing some really good baseball. Gallo struggled since being in New York. But Rizzo has just stepped up and been great. And I can understand where that comes in. Rizzo probably did not want to be on a losing Cubs team every year. And being on a team like the Yankees just probably makes him just a lot better of a player, honestly. I mean, he probably is just more motivated to play for an actual playoff team. And the Yankees are playing some good baseball. And obviously, Cole is on the COVID IL. They've got a lot of guys on the COVID IL. Or whatever, but the Yankees are playing a lot better baseball, and it's showing. You definitely want more production out of Stanton, LeMahieu, who have just not been good this year at all. Stanton, that contract's one of the worst in baseball. I don't know what they've got to do to get Stanton playing like he did at Miami in 2017. But this team is playing really good baseball as of right now. Rizzo's helping this team out a ton with another left-handed bat in that lineup. I say another, but not really another. So this Yankees team, Jameson Taillon is just great right now. In the month of July, he was like 4-0 with a 1 ERA. He has been really, really good, sensational. Adrian Heaney's first start with the team, it didn't go as planned, obviously, not very good. But this team is only going to be getting healthier. Luke Voigt, there's been some rumors that he might head to AAA, which is crazy for a power bat like Luke Voigt. They've got enough power bats with strikeout potential. But with the way Rizzo's playing, you could see why Voigt might be in AAA, which is pretty crazy to say, but he could be. Garrett Cole's going to be coming back, obviously. Kluber, I think, is going to be coming back at some point this year. And Montgomery also is going to be coming back. So their rotation's only going to be getting healthier from here. And obviously the bullpen's good as well. Let's go and talk about the Red Sox. The Red Sox are in second place right now, 64-46. Our playoff team right now, not playing very good as of recent, 3-7, with a one-game losing streak right now. This team, I think they're starting to regret like the moves of the deadline. Like already, we're only a week past the deadline, and these starting pitchers, they're not going to get the same production, I think, out of Nick Pivetta or some of these guys that they have in this rotation for this team that were being so productive in the first half. I don't think you're going to get that for the whole season. Matt Barnes has been great this year, and the bullpen's actually been a decent surprise this year. But I don't know that you can expect like all this. Like Garrett Richards is not nearly as good now. Rodriguez, not a very good start. I mean, he has just not been it this year. Eduardo has not. Eovaldi's really been their ace this year, honestly, because Eduardo Rodriguez has got a 5 ERA this year. He is just not pitching good at all this year. And you've got the lineup, obviously. The lineup is great. You're going to even add Schwarber to that lineup, which straight up there is just scary. Like, they should not have this good of a lineup, but they do. You've got Verdugo. You've got Devers. You've got Bogaerts. You've got Schwarber now. You've got JD Martinez. You've got Renfroe. You've got Kiki Hernandez. You've got Jarren Duran. Like, you have just got a lot of this. And, I mean, the starting pitching, it has been good. I don't know if they're going to keep it up through the whole season. I don't know that I would trust a guy like Nick Pivetta, who's never had playoff experience, in a clutch game. I definitely wouldn't trust Richard Rodriguez with how he's been this year. Martin Perez is another guy that, So I think that you need to get some starting pitching, but I think they're also kind of thinking that maybe Chris Sale's like that move of the deadline. Getting him back is going to be really, really good, that's true. Like getting him back, Chris Sale, even if he's 50% of himself, is going to be good. He's been pitching really well in his minor league outings. And yeah, let's go and talk about the division-leading Rays now. The Rays, the Rays. The Rays, we're going to talk, like I said, a little more about them. But for this Rays team, they currently are tied for the number 1 seed if the playoffs ended today. So they're going to have to face Baltimore in their next series. Tampa Bay, man, I thought after losing Glasnow, it would be even harder. But this Rays team just continues to play good baseball. I mean, no matter what happens, they just continue to play good baseball. You've got the lineup picking up Cruz, and even losing Diego Castillo didn't seem to hurt them a step. And this team, yes, they don't have the rotation that they're looking for, but this team always does. It finds a way. This team, they don't need a lot out of their starting pitching. They don't. All they need is a good, I would say 4 to 5 innings out of these starting pitchers like Patino and Josh Fleming and Michael Wacha. That's all they need out of those guys. All they need. You're going to be getting Nick Anderson back, Pete Fairbanks back. They have got 15 players on the injured list right now, including Randy Arozarena, Nick Anderson, who's one of the best relievers in baseball, if not the best, Pete Fairbanks, Colin Poche, Cody Reed, Jeffrey Springs, Ryan Thompson, J.P. Fearson. They're basically missing like half their bullpen minus like Andrew Kittredge and Matt Whistler, who, mind, has been great since coming over to Tampa Bay in a small trade with the Giants that wasn't even expected to be a lot. He's been sensational since coming over to the Rays. And the lineup's getting only better. Now, Yarbrough is just a guy who's going to eat up innings. It's simple. He's just a guy that is going to eat up innings. This Boston Tampa Bay series, starting on August 10th, is going to be a really exciting series. I'm excited to see what Patino does in really getting that starting rotation spot. I'll be excited to see what he does. But this Rays team, man, they are feeling really good. They should right now. And they can still call a prospect up if they want to, honestly, right now. They should be feeling very, very good about themselves right now, knowing that they're only going to get healthier as well and already in first place. Let's go ahead and continue with the Rays. Glasnow has had Tommy John surgery, which hurts this team a lot. They lose the ace of this rotation, which I think that Glasnow would have been really good in the playoffs this year, considering how bad he was in the playoffs last year. Like, he's only going to get better in the heat of the moment. And Glasnow, it sucks to have him out for the rest of this year, obviously, and what's going to be next year as well. Obviously, it hurts a lot, too, that he could probably come back at the end of the 2022 season if they just went ahead and gave him Tommy John, but they didn't and said that he could come back, and he was rehabbing to coming back. But no, he had a 2.66 ERA this year. This was possibly the best season of his career on the way. He could have got a Cy Young. It sucks for the Rays that they don't have Glasnow. And, Glasnow would help this team a ton, being that ace of the rotation. But I still trust the Rays to be great without him. And, yeah, Glasnow is going to be out for 2021, rest of it, and 2022, full of 2022. And, yeah, for the Rays, I think that they can still win this division. I think that it's not out of the realm of possibility, considering, like I said, they don't need a ton from these starting pitchers. They just would love 5 good innings. Like, that would be good. Yeah, I trust this Rays team still. I think they could still win the division. And, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our final topic of today's video. Let's go ahead and talk about the Mets not signing Kumar Rocker. This goes back to the 2021 draft. The Mets drafted Kumar Rocker 10th overall in the 2021 Major League Baseball draft. So as compensation for this pick, they are going to get the 11th pick in the 2022 MLB draft. So let's go and talk about this. So there's a deadline for players to sign their contract with their new teams. Basically, like a lot of these guys that are top prospects, like Henry Davis, who was the first overall pick, has already made his pro debut with the FCL Pirates or whatever it is. ACL Pirates, I don't know what it is. I think it's something like that. But the Mets and Kumar Rocker are not agreeing on an agreement. So they're going to get the 11th pick in next year's draft, which is going to be a pretty good draft. We're going to have a video about that next week, so I'm not going to go too much on it. But GM of them, Zach Scott, said this is clearly not the outcome we had hoped for and wish Kumar nothing but success moving forward. And why they didn't reach an agreement. So he has an elbow issue. Now, looking back I don't remember what draft this was, but Walker Buehler had Tommy John exactly after this. So for Kumar, he's not going to have the same draft stock as he did this year. Not even close. His draft stock is going to fall in next year's draft. Not saying that next year's draft is necessarily better than this year's draft. It's more of the fact that teams know that he might have to have Tommy John, and that's obviously going to be a big thing. But this sets him back another year and a half if he does have to have Tommy John surgery. And the Mets are going to get the 11th pick next year. They could go out and crazily select Kumar again. But Kumar is going to be kind of like Gunnar Hoglund of the 2021 draft. I kind of thought of this. Coming out of Mississippi State, this guy was a guy that we could have saw as a top 10 prospect, but instead fell because he was going to have Tommy John surgery. And I think the same thing could happen with Kumar. I don't know if it's going to be Tommy John, but It's a shoulder issue, and he didn't have like an MRI submitted before the draft, which players usually do not do because it could like lower their draft stock, and that's why he didn't do it. But this is just the classic Mets right here, just messing up on a draft pick. It sucks if you're a Mets fan, but you're going to be getting 11 back in next year's draft, which I guess does feel good, and you could get possibly an even better player. This sets back. This is just another prospect that is not going to be added to an already bad farm system. This team does not have a good farm system. They needed a guy like Kumar Rocker, whether he's going to be having Tommy John surgery or not. This guy, you need him in this farm system, a farm system that's bad. You're trying to build up that farm system, and I know that you've got concerns, but Kumar is the guy that I don't think wasn't going to be too quick up anyways. He fell in the draft. We all thought that was a really big surprise for him to fall in the draft, which I thought that as well, and we saw it as one of the bigger steals of the draft, not knowing as fans who do not know about a MRI issue for Kumar. That's why he fell. It's pretty simple. Now, here's the thing. Where is his draft stock next year? We've got to go ahead and talk about that. This guy is probably still a first rounder. This guy still has the talent to go as a first rounder. You saw his velocity go from 96 at the start of the season all the way down to 92. And this guy is just a guy that still is going to be a first rounder next year. I still think that this guy's going to go in the first round. He's not going to go top 10, not going to have any type of hype like that. But this guy's a guy that's going to be a later first rounder in this draft. Now, who is that going to be that's going to take him? Who knows? There's some teams that definitely are willing enough to take the risk on a guy like him. But the Dodgers were with Walker Buehler. But Kumar now is in a sticky situation. You can say that because he either goes and plays overseas for a year, or he can go back to college, I'm pretty sure, with Vanderbilt. But he's not going to be pitching any, so it would make no sense for him to go back to college for another year, considering that he's not going to be pitching any, that he's going to have to figure out this MRI issue, and then be back for next year's draft. And this is just a whole sort of mess for Kumar. Like, this is, like, he could have been a top 10 pick, but instead, no. He didn't submit his MRI, and now they've got concerns about an MRI issue. The Mets did consider to care a lot after Matthew Allen was their third-round pick in 2019. He had to have Tommy John. But this is probably just the lead to Tommy John. You probably just want him to go ahead and have Tommy John, because if he has it now, he's not going to have it. He's not going to have it later on, which will, I guess, benefit them. But, I mean, if he comes back like he could possibly, then this could be the steal of next year's draft, getting him in the later first round just because he has to have Tommy John surgery. And the Mets obviously expressed concerns. I don't see why they didn't go ahead and sign him. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they wouldn't go ahead and sign him, because they need prospects in this farm system, especially elite prospects, because they just do not have a good farm system. Doesn't make a ton of sense. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications, because like I said, 92% of you who watch these videos are not subscribers. Go ahead, get your life together, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.